Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you had a great week. It's mostly sunny here this week, although if you watch Monday's video, we started out pretty soggy. Regardless, it's about the weekend. Today is August 12, 2022, and this is your Friday planning video. I figured today I'd try to get the disclaimer out of the way first, since I'm sure I'll mention taxes sometime today. So let me remind you that I do not give personal tax advice. I refer you to your trusted tax advisor, and if you want, connect that person to myself. We'll collaborate on your behalf. They'll come up with the tax advice for us to run with. Okay, now that that's done with, let's get back to where we left off last week. We started with the list. Let's go back to it. Let's go over a short list of some simple, but not always easy items to handle in your personal financial plan. So feel free to go back to last week's video, check out the first group of items. Let's move on to a few more today. It's late enough in the year, but you still have enough time to check and double check your IRA distribution plan. Overlooking the required distribution can come with a hefty penalty. If you've recently moved your account here or anywhere, please make sure that any RMDs are accounted for. So many of the records these days transfer with the accounts, like cost basis, but it is rare that aside from a notation on the statement, that your new custodian will know if you already took your RMD or not. Inherited IRAs also have that new rule I've told you about. Unless you fit under the exemption, you will be required to a full distribution of an inherited IRA unless you are the surviving spouse. That means if you're the kids or the grandkids, you'll need to get that money out, a taxable event, by the end of the 10th year. Another one to check out is lost 401k accounts. We know that we're in the job switch economy. I hear all the time that with the mobility of jobs, the employees are still in the driver's seat. It appears that that's changing, but not so fast. Mobility brings the job change numbers up, and job changes bring abandoned 401k plans. A report from Capitalize estimated last year that 24.3 million accounts from job switchers have been left behind. That's over $1.35 trillion worth with a T. It's a lot of those $1,000 401ks that are not worth the time. At least that's what I keep hearing from people. And as you see, that is not the case. Over the nearly 30 years of doing this business, I've heard from you many times that your 401k or 403b is on autopilot. And that's when you're working there. So you can imagine what this will be like when you're not working there. I could do a video just on this, but suffice to say, unless you think your future will be just like your past, or the next 10 years in the market will be just like the last 10 years, you should probably consider what is the proper move that you should make with this asset. Just to be clear, I'm not suggesting that if you have an old 401k at an old employer that you're managing for good reasons, that you should change that. I'm just suggesting that if you're not sure that you still have that old plan, check it out. Regardless of what you do with it, please put eyes on it and figure out a plan for it. Another one, related to one of last week's topic, cash. It's important to review. Please get a handle on your overall position in debt and cash, if those positions make sense. Yes, this is related to overall budgeting. We've spoken about that, and it's related to watching out for fraud and old subscriptions. We talked about that. But what I want to note is with interest rates moving, variable rates you're paying on your debt is often moving faster than variable rate that your bank is paying you on your cash. Take an accounting of your cash position. What are you earning on that cash, and what are you paying on those loans? Credit cards, car loans, mortgages, second home mortgages, you get the picture. If you can make a payment to get rid of some or all of that debt, and you can do it without leaving you the cash, without the cash fund that you need, consider it. This one is pretty much just math. Last one before I address a more related topic. If you're planning for your retirement and not accounting for healthcare expenses, you could be missing a major expense. Long-term care, not to mention just the regular healthcare as you age, can be a staggering number. Have you estimated that? If you want to, please let me know. I have a great team that will take some basic information from you and give us back a great estimate that we can work from. Okay, we've spoken about the provisions of the Secure Act 2.0, as it's called. More and more is being written about it, and there are some great things that are being proposed. But regardless of the passing of the Senate, 414 to 5, it still has to make it through the House, and that's a long road. Just Google Schoolhouse Rock, I'm just a bill, and you can get some idea of what's left. Not to mention the state of the divided Congress and the midterms coming up. We'll keep an eye on it for you, but I don't see that becoming law until late this year or early next year at best, and who knows what it'll look like by then. I'm going to wrap up today with a few ideas on how we can implement some of these goals. Let me just say that as the title of the list we went through in the past 2 weeks stated, these items are simple, but they're not easy. Here are a few ideas to become money motivated and get into attacking some of these items and some of these tasks. Start with setting some specific financial goals. These are very personal, and they should not just be words. They should include numbers and dates. How much and when, and maybe even some of the how. And you may think, how on earth can I accomplish this huge task? I suggest you look at it, break it down into small, bite-sized pieces, smaller and shorter-term goals. Those will suit you best. It is August 12th. Don't make 2022 goals. Make August 2022 goals. Make third quarter goals. But be realistic and hold yourself accountable. Also, set up your savings and investment plans to be on autopilot. This is important in so many ways. One of the most important one is that with the ups and downs of these markets and the expansion and contraction of this economy, it is too easy to make the day-by-day decision to invest this week or not this week. There's a good reason why your corporate retirement plans are often the largest asset in your later years. Every pay period, rain or shine, bull market or bear market, your salary deferral goes in and gets invested the way you set it up. That autopilot can often be the difference between reaction and overreaction to market movements. Finally, start now. There's no doubt that the past few years have been difficult, and the recent inflation has not made the financial end of this any easier. But to wait for it to get easier, it will never happen. I'll admit that I'm not really worthy to use this quote, but as the Navy SEALs are famous for saying, the only easy day was yesterday. Time is a commodity that I find is getting used up way too quickly. It's already almost halfway through August. Where did the year go? If you need some help getting these goals and plans into place, let me know. We can work through them. Come back next week to talk about more planning ideas, and Monday will be another update on this past week and a preview of next week. Hint, this past week being home to what many said were the two most important eco data points to date. Next week has to be slower. Yes, we'll have to see. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.